Good morning, this is Louise Hallam and I work with senior leaders and executives to eliminate stress and fatigue so that they can be more confident, their true selves, and rediscover the joy in their life and leadership. I'm also an intuitive spiritual mentor and a modern medicine woman. So welcome if you're joining me today. I've been guided to record this live on YouTube today, so I always follow the guidance that I receive. So you may well be watching this previously recorded live session, and so welcome if you're here live or on replay. Grateful that you're here. And today's session that I've also been guided to deliver is about unleashing the wild woman in your life and leadership. And this has been inspired by a book that I was actually given for my birthday, which was yesterday, called Women Who Run with the Wolves. And this book is by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. And I don't know what I was expecting. I just know that I wanted this book, and actually, it's so much more than I was anticipating. It's a bit difficult to explain, but if I suggest you sort of maybe have a look at it, if you think it might be of interest to you. But it's really a combination of philosophy, fairy tales, sort of a bit of psychology, a bit of wisdom. It's just really an interesting book which talks about the wild woman and the different guises that turns up in as, and that's why I was thinking about how I wanted to inspire you today, give you wisdom and guidance and support today. Because the fact is that we all have a wild woman within, and this wild woman is often whispering to us about what she wants and what she wants you to have in this world, and in this lifetime that you're in. But we will often maybe ignore that whispering because of maybe the path it will take us on, or the action it may ask us to have, and maybe even the happiness that it would bring, because on some level maybe we feel we're not worth that happiness, or we're not worth that joy that is going to give us, and hence the sort of unleashing of that wild woman who is within each and every one of us, which is the essence of us, that is driven by a creativity, a softness, but a fire and a passion as well. And if you think about the things that do make you light up, that make you passionate, whether that's in your life or your leadership, you do often get that sense of being the whole person that you were meant to be, and being that sort of wild woman. And when we say wild woman, it doesn't mean that necessarily that you have to do something, so out of character that people just think, oh my God, what's happened to what's happened to her. But it's about that expression of maybe art or creativity or craft that maybe you haven't done for a while, or maybe you've never done but you've always really wanted to do something. And then in your leadership, it could be that you want to focus more on kindness and compassion rather than KPIs. Maybe you want to, you'd be happier wearing a boiler suit in the boardroom, or you want to grow out the grey in your hair, or you want to give people creative and thinking time and activities, which goes against that grain of push, 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 fight for survival in the business world. Or you want to spend time with people, nurturing them, really getting to know them. Or maybe you want to build a community of really strong, powerful, empowered women leaders, without thinking that people are going to think you're creating some kind of witch's coven, where you're going to be, creating sort of spells and to cast on the male members of your executive of your organization. So it's really getting that sense of who you are and how you get fulfilled, because we all know when there are times when either we might feel anxious, or we feel down, or we feel a bit maybe even depressed, or we've kind of lost our way, we've lost the way that we can laugh and live and love, and we just feel a bit flat. Because we need that ignition of some passion, some creativity, some spark, some inspiration, some kind of connection. And that might be just connecting with people who are having similar thoughts around what drives them now, because it's not what used to drive you, that's for certain. And it might be that you want to take some time out, and you might feel that need to spend time out on your own. And maybe that's raising questions for you, and the understanding that to spend time in solitude, to spend time alone with your thoughts, is one way that you can get to hear that kind of wild woman within. And what is it that she wants you to do? What is she really asking you to put your stamp on and to bring out into the world as part of your light and as part of your leadership, that you're just always just pushing to one side or pushing away? Because then if you don't listen to that, and you just think, you're so worried about what other people are going to think, or you're thinking, when people aren't going to understand this, or they're not going to get this, and eventually that part of you just feels so unfulfilled that it becomes a kind of grey existence, and part of you starts to feel like it's dying, which is a really harsh thing to say, but that's what happens when we don't express ourselves from a place of joy and a place of dancing in the rain, and painting without worrying about what you're going to paint, or gardening where you've got your hands completely within the soil, so they're full of dirt and the earth, and you have that connection to Mother Earth. So these things that are there to fulfill the needs of that wild woman. But then on some level, it does require a level of conquering fear, and also what other people think, and also what people think about women in leadership and what's acceptable. Because as women, you've had to overcome those challenges of being a woman in maybe a male in dominated environment, certainly at the top echelons of leadership. So what does it then mean if you want to come and bring your wild woman into that? Because that's the part that needs a bit of courage and a bit of bravery. But once you connect to that essence of you, then there is a strength within you that carries you forward. But it's being able to take that first step. And once that part of you has been heard, they will be there to fully back you up in whatever you do. And that might be a connection to your ancestors and how they lived, and how they lived in community and led by community. what were the ancient skills that they brought that you can bring into your life and leadership, because that's where we've been asked to go back and check in with our ancestors and everything that they gave us to enable us to, at this point in time, come back into a place of empowerment as a woman leader. Without those things that we feel like we've had to do, where maybe we've had to be more assertive or aggressive or masculine, this is the true meaning of feminine leadership. The true meaning of feminine leadership is to embrace the ancestral ways of being as a woman without then beating down those masculine counterparts who have maybe been responsible in the past for suppressing those types of leadership. But there is no fear with that now, because you are supported fully by the essence of you and by your ancestral spirits. So it's okay to come out with this expression because you are fully backed by every possible scenario. This is the time to be coming out and sort of saying how you want to be, how you want to feel, how you want to lead, how you want to see your business and organization grow, what is your vision. And this is the ability to connect it with the strongest part of you that has always been there, and enabling that part of you to bring the sense of truth through you. And so there is no hesitation now in that expression. There is a clarity, there is a understanding, and you can feel it and you know it. But you might be the one that has to make that first move. So you look around you and everyone is doing the same thing that they've always done, the same way. You're the one that needs to make the change. Take the leap of faith and know that you are fully backed 100%. And the time out of the workplace for you, for your fellow leaders, is so important. An expression of who you are and how you want others to be, because you're then giving them permission to give their light and their gifts to the world too. So I hope this has given you a little bit of an insight. There's so much more wrapped up in this, but I just wanted to give you a bit of an idea today about what that looks like. But I have no doubt that I will be delivering more on this. So if you do want to find out more about the way that I work, then you can go to my website, which is stillcalm.co.uk. And what if you were interested in working with me, one of the things that a lot of people do is an intuitive life and leadership session, which is a 45-minute of intuitive, honest account of where you are now in your life and leadership, and perhaps some of the steps that you want to be taking, or at least one actionable change that you can make right now. So I will pop that in the comments when I have finished this call. So really great to be with you again, and I look forward to sharing more with you very soon.